intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the Voice of the People. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Hey, Daddy, this a dollar beat.
BoxingVoice.com. No matter what nobody say, man. Spirit, can't nobody fuck with me, man. You know, I can't be fucked with, you know.
Dollar D Beyonce Productions.
Whether you pay to see me win, or you pay to see me lose, you're gonna pay. Fuck it, your kids still gotta eat. I don't have to watch, you know, any footage of a fighter. I mean, because I'm Floyd Mayweather, everybody gotta watch me. I knew eventually I was gonna have to fight Oscar. I feel like he was straight up and down, no special effects.
Sky's the limit, baby.
BoxingVoice.com.
We don't fight for rings and stuff like that. I don't fear anyone.
En este deporte no se viene a jugar y no le tengo miedo a nadie.
We don't come to play in this sport. I fear no one in this sport.
Does that mean
Dollar D
that you
Beyonce
will fight
Productions.
Triple G later this year?
Como lo dije en la pelea pasada, ahorita mismo me vuelvo a poner los guantes.
As I said in the last fight, right now I'll put on the gloves again.
¡Viva México!
Canelo wants to unify all the titles.
When did you realize, Andy, that you could take his power?
Because of the Mexican warrior that I am, I got that Mexican blood in me, so talking about the Mexican style, I just proved it.
BoxingVoice.com.
Ain't no other sight in the game to see the Boxing Voice.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another spontaneous breaking news edition of the Boxing Voice. And we got a little bonus for you. So if you're Patreon, head on over to patreon.com/the Boxing Voice and drop your question for Abner Mares, because if all goes according to plan, he should be on the show. It was last minute, very short notice, as this Twitter beef between Ryan Garcia, Henry Cejudo, and Abner Mares just kind of develop. So we're right on top of it, bringing it to you. We'll give you all the details. If you're interested, stick around. But once again, we're talking Ryan Garcia versus Abner Mares, Twitter beef, potential fight? Maybe. Let me head on out to Corpus Christi, Texas, to my co-host.
It's me, Mario.
Yo, what up? Yeah, this is kind of crazy a little bit. This man, Ryan Garcia, going after everybody, MMA, boxing, nobody's excluded. Yeah, we'll get into everything, because I definitely look, you know, Ryan Garcia has every right to talk about Abner Mares and want to fight Abner Mares. The simple truth is Abner Mares is right now out of his league. That's just the truth. But that said, you know, as far as Cejudo, I definitely have some interesting points, I think, to make on that. So we'll chop it all up.
Well, I'm glad that you're on, because, you know, I don't watch, Bellator. So who exactly is Henry Cejudo?
First of all,
who the fuck is that guy?
First of all, he fights for the UFC. Second of all, he could be probably top 5, maybe even top 3 greatest.
I heard he retired 3
MMA
days ago.
Fighters of all time. Yeah, listen, he retired on Saturday. He won 2 titles, held 2 titles simultaneously in the UFC at flyweight and at bantamweight. He single-handedly saved the flyweight division from collapsing. It was about to close down. They were going to get rid of the belt, and Henry Cejudo, as an underdog, came out and beat TJ Dillashaw. And he's also a former Olympian, a former gold medalist in Olympics. And so there's been talk of him making the wrestling team for the Olympics. He thinks he could do it. But he has apparently 5 hours ago accepted the challenge from Ryan Garcia. And this was I think it was on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. But, look, he said, yeah, this was the Ryan Garcia tweet, and I'll read it real quick. He said, "You think Henry Cejudo would give me a good fight in the boxing ring?" And then he went on to say, and then Henry Cejudo went on to say, oh, no, okay. So I'll just finish reading all the Ryan Garcias. He said, "Don't end up like Connor." That's after Henry Cejudo, made a comment about De La Hoya. And, so that's where we're at right now, where Ryan Garcia came out and essentially said that, this man had no chance against him, and it was a joke. He said, "Stay retired before I retire you permanently," which, those are not mince words at all.
Yeah, so there's been a lot going on. Ryan has been definitely coming out and getting at Cejudo. He says, "My guy Henry C is 5'4". You enter the ring with me and you'll end up retiring for good. Just enjoy your championships in MMA." And he says, "I got some business to handle July 4th, but anyone who believes they can beat me should be addressed. Man, I got a lot of people wanting to fight me. Only more reason to keep training. God bless." So now, Linares comes out, right? Because Ryan says to Cejudo, not to Cejudo, but to Mares, he says, "I find it funny that old-ass Abner Mares is talking shit. If you want to get knocked out again in the first round, then be my guest. And that goes for you too, Linares." So then Linares jumped on that, and he's like, "Man, I'm not going to say much. I've been waiting for a contract." And I think he called them, let me find that one. Where's Linares at? It's so much because this kid's been going ham over here. He's been going.
Yeah, he's been going at everyone.
Yep. So if I could find it. Lou DeBella, when Ryan asked the question, "Do you think Henry Cejudo would give me a good fight in the boxing ring?" Lou DeBella says, "Absolutely not."
Yeah, definitely not.
And then Benito Lopez, who says, "I have an even better question. Do you think you'd give any UFC fighter a real fight inside the octagon?" So we got Devin, who also jumped in on the fun, right? So when Linares says, "I'm not talking much, but I'm waiting for the contract to fight with you, spoiled child, Garcia." So then Haney jumps on that, and Haney's like, "If Princess Ryan pussies out, I'll fight you," to Linares. So then Linares comes back and tells Haney with the thumbs up anytime. So Ryan can go his own route. And let me be honest, if I'm putting on my promoter hat, if I'm Oscar, I've done business with Abner. I know what version of Abner this is. I'm jumping on this. This is a 4th-division champion that I can help build Ryan's resume. I don't even think Abner has ever faced anybody at 135. Has he even gone to 135 himself?
No, he definitely hasn't. And that was the point I was trying to make earlier. It's not that I don't think that Ryan Garcia, couldn't beat Abner Mares. I don't if I said that right or not. But yeah, Ryan Garcia could definitely stand a chance. I mean, he's a big guy. He possesses a lot of skills. We don't know what version of Abner, is left after the injury. But that said, what I meant to say is that Abner has no business even wanting to fight. Like, Ryan Garcia is so far beneath what Abner Mares has accomplished at this point. Like, it would be a mistake for Abner to even entertain this. One, because Ryan Garcia is more than a live dog, but two, because what does he gain at all from something like this?
I mean, look, I think there's a lot of upside to beating Ryan, especially if you're Mares. If you're Mares, you are moving up for this fight, big time. People are counting you out. You're an underdog in this one, and you're an underdog to a young kid. So I think the sky's the limit. If he wins, he's back at the top. Everyone considers Ryan the next guy. For Mares, I hope that we're able to get him on, because we're talking about 10 pounds above his last fighting weight when he faced Leo at the Staples, which was 2 years ago. Now, we know, because we just had him on about a month ago, that he's training with Manuel Robles and Estrellita over there. So he is working out, but he's only 5'4.5". Ryan took shots at Cejudo for being 5'4", thinking that was going to be too small for Ryan. So I don't know. How much of an issue is height going to be?
I mean, it's gonna be an issue, plain and simple. This is a big kid, and he's only getting bigger. I mean, I saw a picture of him just last week. I think everybody was freaking out how huge he looked. That of course it hit Twitter, and of course, certain allegations are thrown around. But this kid is just becoming a monster. So it would be a huge advantage and a huge disadvantage. And I get what you're saying. Ryan Garcia has this popularity, right, that is just booming and buzzing. But here's the thing is I think a lot of that popularity right now is with a certain demographic that no other fighter can really even play with. Maybe Tank Davis, maybe Devin Haney, maybe Shakur Stevens, but somebody like Abner Mares, I don't think benefits from all that much from Ryan Garcia's demographic. A lot of it's made up of social media people, and I don't really know how big a boxing fans most of his, fans make up. Man. I don't know how many. I'll put it this way. I don't know how many of them are Ryan Garcia fans over boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how many of them enjoy boxing as much as they enjoy Ryan Garcia boxing.
I disagree. I think there's just so much for Golden Boy to take advantage of this opportunity. They could do this in the Staples Center after COVID is, removed, and they could really capitalize. I mean,
no, I agree. I'm not saying that
Abner
Ryan Garcia wouldn't.
No, but you're saying that the Abner has nothing to gain. I think that's
exactly.
Also wrong. I think that the pundits, the experts, are pegging Ryan to be the future. They're not saying he's gonna be the creme de la creme, but he will be up there. There are super fights to make with him. So if you're Abner and you move up 10 pounds and you beat a dude 4.5 inches taller than you, I think there's a lot there to capitalize on. I mean, doesn't he get an automatic title shot if he's able to beat Ryan Garcia? Why wouldn't Devin Haney want to fight him?
Yeah, no, listen, again, I think that you're absolutely right. 100%. Ryan Garcia, this is a fight that would be a very big one for him, and he's in a really great opportunity. He gets to come in against a veteran guy who's, going to give his reputation a lot for his resume. The reputation goes through the roof. But at the same time, he's getting a guy who's not the best version of Abner Mares that we've seen, that we actually haven't seen in a really long time, and that's another factor. So this is all benefits for Ryan Garcia.
Exactly.
It's a great
and that's
fight for
what
him.
He's saying. Listen, he didn't pick a fight. He was trying to do like Oscar, like Floyd. He's taking a page out the blueprint, and he was trying to cross over to MMA, bring an MMA fight. He's trying to be bigger than normal. It was Abner. It was Abner that poked his nose in his business. So he said, you want to get your old ass knocked out? Be my guest. So this manifested on itself, and I think it works in Golden Boy's favor. See, for Ryan and Reynoso, they're thinking to ourselves, well, perfect. Abner is old school Mexican. He's got the fan base. He fought, twice with Leo Santa Cruz at Staples? Like, we need that fan base. Doesn't matter that they're 35-40. Let them see Ryan beat Abner. We take them. Now for Abner, vice versa. Ryan's going to bring his teeny boppers there. He's going to fill it out the way he did the Fonseca. Abner has to take that and run with it.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think it goes back to the point I was trying to make, though, from the very beginning, is that this is I'm not saying that there aren't benefits for Abner, but you going through this fight and breaking it down, it just means so much more for Ryan Garcia than it would for Abner Mares. Like, the risk to reward ratio is different on both sides of the fence. For Ryan Garcia, the rewards are, bountiful. You know what I'm saying? For Mares, they're really not. I think he could capitalize on it for sure, but to this point, like, to what degree does he capitalize on it? He's stuck in a division where no longer is he going to fight Ryan Garcia, who's still young and fresh faced. He's going to have to go after some dogs in those divisions. And so I don't know. I think if this was 3-4 years ago, I could see him making a run at lightweight that's sustaining and meaningful. But at this point, I think he's picking his fights. And I just don't know if Ryan Garcia provides as many rewards as some of the other guys might.
Well, I think Ryan brings money, fame, and popularity and ranking. He's number 2 in the WBO. And, I mean, does Abner want a big money fight or does he want a Vasile fight, you know? So, again, Ryan is number 2 in the WBO.
That's a good point. That's a really, really good point. And that's probably the best argument to me why Abner should do it, because if he is hell-bent on making a big money fight at 135, every other direction he goes has much more problems than a Ryan Garcia at this point, because Ryan's so young, because he experience is a thing that is a disadvantage for him. You know what I mean? Experience doesn't always go in one guy's favor or the other. You know, sometimes you can only get so much experience, right? Heading into a fight. But in this case, Ryan Garcia is in a situation where he could lose to a guy with more pro experience. You know what I mean? A la Salido and Lomachenko. So I guess from that perspective, I hear what you're saying. You go and fight Lomachenko, which might not even produce as much money, and it's a hell of a dangerous fight. You know, Tank Davis, same thing. But you got a Ryan Garcia who you can catch green, like Mayweather did to Canelo. So that's definitely a point in the positive for me.
See, the tall task for Abner is expecting him to be able to do this off a 2-year layoff, trainer change. You know, the questions will be, is the eye okay? You know, he's going in an underdog. It might even be considered a cherry pick since he never fought at 135. But it makes some sense financially. Ryan is number 2 in the WBA, and then Gervonta is the interim. Now, I mean, not the interim, but the regular. Now, you know Gervonta's moving down to fight Leo at 130, so that regular will be vacant. You probably could even do Ryan Garcia and Abner Mares for that belt.
Yeah.
Robert Easter is in front of Ryan at number 1 in the WBA, and we know the WBA has a tight-knit little bond with PBC, so maybe that doesn't happen. But I think that Ryan's popularity, the fame, the clout, and the ranking is more than enough reason to do a fight with him if you're Abner Mares. And if you're Abner, I mean, why else would you put yourself out there? You know, why else would you say anything about it if you don't want it, right? Because you check his story, and it's on his story. You know, people rooting for him, he's reposting. Vámonos al KO, you know, and he's reposting. Another one about him being on the cover of ESPN. Another one about, you know, what he said, because this is what Abner said. And this ain't even no clout chasing, because I ain't even at homeboy. These are just facts. So he's saying, I never added him. I never tried to get him to see what I'm saying. So even though it was subliminal, without the tag, and we knew, Ryan picked up because Ryan knows. So he's saying, these are just facts. Is he a good fighter? Yes. Is he the future? Well, looks so. By the way, they taken his career. Has he done shit in boxing? Hell no. Other than making the double M bag look easy. So that's shots. And that's true.
Because, and even if you go back to the, I guess, excuse of it all, like, I mean, did you really think, like, look, if I don't Ryan Garcia or Abner Mares, they're probably never going to see it. You know, it was a very small chance they'd see it anyway, even if I did add them. But for someone at that level, you know what I mean, to mention somebody's name, even if they don't add them, they know that that's going to cause something. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's a retired.
That's a move.
He's a retired old boxer, right? That's what Ryan's calling him old.
Yeah.
While he's looking on his, while he's following his timeline.
But, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you got a great point. That's it, and that's what I was kind of trying to insinuate. But at the same time, I just kind of wanted to pull back from it because I don't think that necessarily means what sounds like.
So he says, Abner does. He said, my old ass is just getting up. What did I miss? And you ain't knocking no one out, and especially not the first round. Wake me up when you fight someone someone decent. Going back to sleep. Need my 10 hours. Doc recommended for us older men. Oh yeah, good morning. So he really thinks Ryan ain't on that level. Like, Ryan would have to make a example of Mares, and if he doesn't get the Linares fight, let's be real. Has he fought someone on the level of Mares? Has he fought a 4-3 division world champion? No. That's just the truth.
he hasn't. He hasn't. And that was really what I was saying from the beginning is, like, you know, he represents something so much more. But, like, you know, going back to the whole way that this thing kind of broke down, and even before that, you know, it's a point to where Abner Mares, I mean, he's continuously, you know, being put as a name out there for guys. You know, Jojo Diaz and him just started a little, you know, Instagram, Twitter feud last week, you know, and we covered that. And so I don't know. To me, Abner Mares seems like people are starting to view him as, like, you know, the easiest cherry to pick at this point. But I really think it's more about what he brings to the table in terms of commercial value. You know, he speaks well. He's got a great look. He's very marketable. So, of course, all these guys want to get in there with him. But to me, even though this might not be the truth, I feel like you get more out of a Jojo Diaz fight right now than you do with a Ryan Garcia. And that might not be true based on, you know, the appeal and the popularity of Ryan Garcia. But I don't know. Jojo Diaz is just, he's experienced. He's got a name. And by the way, it's a fight that a lot of us hardcores have wanted to see for a long time.
I mean, Jojo Diaz has a belt, so that changes everything for Mares. But for those that are out there that are asking me, why am I crazy? And, you know, what am I saying? How could Mares fight Ryan? Ryan is going to eventually be a 147-pounder. Mares out here trying to fight Joseph Diaz Jr. Mares wants a 135-pound fight. Remember, before Mares got his 2-year layoff, he was scheduled to fight Gervonta at 135. So chill, you know. Follow boxing a little bit better.
Yeah, I think definitely if he's looking for Jojo Diaz, I think a catch weight between 130 and 135 is definitely something he'd entertain for it to be the right circumstance.
Oh, yeah, Diaz is 130, though.
Yeah, Diaz is 130.
Yeah, I said 35. Okay. All right. But what about Tank? Tank would have been 132?
I mean, it looks like it. If he's fighting Leo at 130, I think they were supposed to fight at 130.
So I guess that five extra, oops, maybe you're right. Maybe that 5 extra is just too much.
He's a big kid. That's all I'm trying to say is that, you know, it's not even like what he weighs right now. It's really like what he could weigh in 2 months. I mean, this kid is at he's got such a rapid growth rate, it seems like, that, I mean, he's just getting bigger by the month. You know what I mean? And he's definitely going to be at 147 very, very soon. You know, I would say within 2 years for sure. You know, and I think that he gets bigger than that too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, I guess it's a tall task. I thought for whatever reason, I had it in my head, Joseph Diaz, he looked big in that fight, man. I'm telling you, but I guess not. He was 130. Yeah, man, that's a lot. But Mares has 2 years off. When he last fought, he was at 126. Is it hard to turn a dude into a 135-pounder that's been out the ring 2 years, you know, and only wants to move up one division? Well, technically 2, you know.
Yeah, 2, really.
9 pounds, 9 pounds.
I don't know. It's definitely not an easy task. You know what I mean? That's why I think ultimately it just depends who that partner is, and it depends who that fight is. You know, guys get to a certain level and or reach a certain level, and, you know, will they take a little more gambles that they wouldn't have? Yeah, if the money's right. You know what I mean? And that's just the fighter mentality.
I agree with Craig. He says Abner wants a final payday. And
sure.
The names that he is calling out, those are pretty big fights that'll have a nice payday. You know, Joseph Diaz, you know,
that's Gervonta, a great
fight. And now Ryan. I mean, he will be paid handsomely for those. But those are tough fights. Those are tough fights.
He gets more to me out of a Jojo Diaz fight than he does the other fights. Not that they're not financially lucrative, and not that they don't have their, you know, pros But
I don't know,
I just think
man.
that Joseph Diaz, it's a fight where he doesn't come out, you know,
I mean,
beat up
JoJo is
so bad.
proven.
Maybe they're going to go to war, but I just don't think JoJo packs as big of a punch to like take years off your life. You know what I mean? I just think that the higher that this man goes, Abner Mares, the worse off he is. Just, you know.
I guess I get what you're saying. You know, JoJo isn't known to be a big puncher. He's also 130, but I feel like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like Ryan is still the bigger reward, even though JoJo has a belt. I think Ryan is still the bigger reward. Like,
it's definitely a hot take.
Would Abner get more credit for beating a 135-pounder, moving up 2 divisions off a 2-year layoff and beating Ryan Garcia, or moving up 1 division off a 2-year layoff and beating the champion in JoJo Diaz? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Who has more of an upside? Who do we see 5 years down the line still being a champion, Ryan or JoJo?
Well, but see, that's a different question. I mean, if you're asking what fight or what fight looks better once your legacy is accounted for, you know, then I think Ryan Garcia definitely could and probably will ultimately mean more later than it does now. But, you know, I just don't see what that does for Abner, you know, really, truly, you know, unless you can somehow go back and forth to the future. Like, there's really nothing that you can gain from that. Like, one day they'll say that Ryan Garcia fight was, whoa, congratulations, you took it. Or, you know, do you make some pretty decent money against JoJo Diaz and be around long enough to enjoy it? You know, be lucid enough to enjoy it, because it's going to be a war with JoJo, but it's not going to be the kind of war that, you know, Abner can't come back from or you know what I mean, be okay from. With Ryan Garcia, you know, Tank Davis, these guys are really, really big. And I don't see Abner backing down. And therefore, I see Abner taking punishment from much bigger guys.
So I guess you got to tell us a little bit about Cejudo. Like, would people buy into that like they did Conor? Like, is he a name that the UFC would get up if he was fighting Ryan? And I guess that boxing would, I don't know, is this appealing to you? I've never in my life heard of Henry.
Okay, so is it appealing to me? Yes, very much. Is it appealing to guys that watch both boxing and MMA? I think so. But is this Conor Mayweather? Absolutely not. You know, Henry Cejudo is relatively a newcomer in the sense of being like this big name. You know, he spent most of his career being mostly a hardcore known guy. And, you know, after his time on The Ultimate Fighter, he's raised through the ranks. But no, this fight isn't even close to anything like that. I mean, it's really nothing more than a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? And do I want to see it like in terms of actually having to pay for it? No, zero. But I don't want to pay for any MMA boxing matches ever, you know, and at some point a casual, because I'm not talking to the people that listen to us because those are the hardcores. I'm talking about somebody who's just perusing the YouTube and comes across this. And I'm talking to them when I tell you that just stop. This is not anything that we need to see. You can predict when a boxing guy goes to MMA, he's going to get beat. When an MMA guy goes to boxing, they're going to get beat. It doesn't matter. And the only reason why I'd even want to see it is because this would prove it. This would prove it. You put a guy who's essentially the Vasyl Lomachenko of the UFC right now, you know, a guy who's thought of to be huge, but, you know, at the same time, he's at a weight class that doesn't produce a lot of money. He would come into this world of boxing and lose to one of our young hopefuls. You know, Ryan Garcia is not even solidified yet. You know, he's not even at the top of the boxing world. You know, he's definitely got the highest viewed stock projections, but his stock isn't up there with the Canelos and with the, you know, Terrence Crawfords and the Spences and Lomachenkos and everybody else. So you would have a guy who comes in who's one of the best in MMA, and he would get squashed by, you know, a guy who wouldn't be on his level, vice versa. You know, a young start, you know, a guy who's eventually going to be something in our minds. But that would probably end the debate once and for all.
Is this the type of fight that will get a guy like Dana White to pick up the phone and try and make this with Oscar?
I don't think so. I think that this doesn't produce as much money that it would take to thaw the frosty relationship between De La Hoya and White. They do not like each other. Dana White's definitely still upset that Oscar dipped his toe in MMA and used two of UFC's, veteran legend Hall of Fame guys in Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. And just the things they've said about each other, this isn't worth it. If it was like Canelo and like George St. Pierre, but that doesn't make any sense either. But like, let's say it was Canelo and Masvidal, maybe that's big enough. Maybe they would definitely probably, at least talk. But this, no, the lower weight classes have always traditionally been underlooked and undervalued. And Henry is the champion at the lower weight classes in the UFC. And those don't get as much appeal either, And so Ryan Garcia, his status comes when he gets to welterweight. It's just the truth. He might get a little more popular at junior welterweight, but welterweight is when he'll start to see the big money, the big fights, and become that marquee name. And with Henry, just the fight's not worth it at the end of the day. It's just not worth it.
Well, why would he pick Henry then if it's not a big name? Why? Because he's the one said, you think Henry will give me a good fight. It wasn't like Henry was the one, seeking
they're
him
relatively
out.
close in weight. Henry weighs the fight was contested at 135 on Saturday, the UFC fight. So Henry's at his weight class. Plus, Henry came out and said he's the greatest combat sports champion of all time. Plus, he is a big name at that weight class. You know what I mean? He has reached these heights because he's beaten guys that, nobody thought he would beat. And, there's reason to call him out because it's like a counterpart. You want to be that guy from the smaller weight classes that still racks up the paychecks and the belts. But, really, who else would he call out? Is Ryan Garcia, Conor McGregor make any sense? Like zero, although that would probably be kind of fun. But, I don't see really any other rational, logical reason other than the weight.
Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and final thought it. Looks like Abner might end up being a no-show. He was in the gym, and we were hoping to get him when he was able to get out. But, yeah, man, my final thoughts is if Abner could get it, he got to take it. He's 2 years removed. It's a tall task, but, I mean, I don't know. Was he just checking Ryan, or does he see something that he can capitalize off of Ryan?
Yeah, I think he was probably checking him a little bit. I think that, I'm not gonna say it was a troll or anything like that, but it definitely was to kind of stir the pot a little bit. I mean, my final thoughts on this essentially are, if Abner, too bad we didn't have him here, but if he hears this in the future, Jojo Diaz, it's the best fight to be made. Does it have more upside financially? I don't know. Maybe not. But from, all the perspectives and all the boxes you need to check, it fits. You know what I mean? You got a good storytelling element. It'll produce fireworks and be a fan-friendly fight. You definitely get money out of it. It's just at this point, it's a fight that we all want to see, and a lot of us have wanted to see for a very long time, and we all hope to see, when JoJo was coming out of the Olympics at some point. So, that's the route for me. Anything else, I don't know. I wouldn't see as more than a money grab. But catch me at Maury Munguia on Twitter, at Maury Munguia on Instagram.
Bruh, did you see Evander Holyfield on Instagram addressing the meme?
Yes.
Bruh, he's addressing the meme that it says, "Thank you, Mike," and the, what is it, N94 mask
the
right
mask
now that we supposed to use for
coronavirus.
It's falling off, bruh. Yo, that shit bothered him. He literally did a video putting it on and talking with the mask on. Damn. I haven't heard it. I'm like watching it
You
because
gotta
I'm
hear
watching
it.
the show.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. You gotta listen.
I only have one here. I have two. Let me show you. One, two. How about that? Be safe out there. How about this? Look at this.
All right, because I could.
How about this?
I could play it on the screen here.
Act like I only have one here. I have two. Let me show you.
Shout out to Jay Hardcore Boxing.
Two. How about that? Be safe out there. How about
really bothered him?
Yeah, man, I can't believe he took to Instagram, man, and cleared things up for the people, man. Hey, that's what you got to do sometimes, you know?
That's right.
We did have a few callers. We had to restart Skype. So we're going to give them a few seconds to get on. Remember the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. If you're on Blog Talk, remember to press 1 time to voice your opinion. That lets us know that you are not just listening in the queue and you want to talk. We're going to reconnect with Skype right now, and it looks like, who are we going to first? Stone Bone Boxing, what's up, brother?
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm bad, man. I'm driving in the car, man. Yeah, blacked out. Just came back in. I like Ryan's attitude, man. A lot of these dudes is just, I don't think he's that good of a fighter. Me personally, he just remind me of, I don't want to say Amir Khan, but he's very similar. Fast hands, chin's in the air. He backs out with his hands down. So it's a lot of similarities between Amir Khan. So if he can live up to Amir Khan, according to like Mario, you know, he'll be great. But I think that's what I see. So he can beat UFC fighters. It's just going to be hard for him to beat top level boxers. I think out of the young guys at 135, I think Ryan is the farthest behind. Teofimo's a champ. Devin Haney is a champ. Tank has been a champ. I just think that he's the last of that crop. He's behind. Well, Shakur is a champ now, even though he's a few divisions below. But I think all those guys beat him. So he might need to target either some old Mexican guys that De La Hoya got sitting around that he can build his name off of, or because I don't think he's ready for not really a slick back boxer, black boxer, but just an elite level fighter that's aggressive. I think that would be.
And that's what I'm saying. If he don't think he's ready for certain people, then Abner is probably the right thing to go to rather than, you know, burst the Ryan Garcia bubble. But let's head on out to
You got any excuses tonight, Roy? Let's not ask questions like that. Let's touch gloves and go to work. Let's go to work.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Can you hear me?
What up? What up?
All right, dope. Nothing much, man. Yeah, man. So what's the title? Is it Ryan Garcia versus Abner Mares or him versus Henry Cejudo?
Both, because he came out
Okay.
and he said, you know, what do you guys think about a fight with me and Henry? Then him and Henry start going at it. Then Abner seen that, and Abner jumped on it like, bruh, you know, you ain't even ready for nobody.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest. Henry Cejudo's like 5'3", but 5'4". He's a short, stocky guy, which, you know, works well in UFC. But in boxing, that ain't gonna cut it, champ. Yeah, I don't see he can't beat Ryan in a boxing match, and I don't even know that he's not that big of a star. He's more like if you're a hardcore UFC fan, you know who he is. Like, I'm not a hardcore. I know who he is. I haven't seen many of his fights, but I don't think there's big money in that fight at all. There's not. I don't see that being a big money fight, man. Really. So I don't know why he would even call Henry out or want to fight him. But him and Abner, man, I'd like to see it. It'd be a good fight for young Ryan.
Now, I got to ask you, though, how could you call Henry a small guy but then want to see Abner? Abner's 5'4.5".
Is he that short?
That's what BoxRec got him listed at.
Really? I didn't know Abner was that short, bro. Honestly. But yeah, but the difference is Abner's a boxer. Henry's not a boxer, you know. And even then, Abner, damn, 5'4", that's super short. I didn't realize he was that damn short. But yeah, with Henry, just you know, he's not a boxer. He's an MMA fighter, and his style of fighting in MMA, I don't even see why he would transition to the boxing ring and think he's gonna really like do damage like that, man. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, that's it, man. Appreciate you.
All right, champ. Let me get to Trey in the Bay.
Oh, my background too loud.
You said what? All right, something about the background.
She said her background's too loud.
Yeah. We got some callers on Blog Talk. Don't forget to hit 1. We got a super chat from Machine Gun in Texas that says, what did he say? Ryan needs to stick to the diet. He'll be ready for the big names soon. So to the diet means that Golden Boy diet. You know what I mean? Continue fighting who they putting in front of him, and he'll be ready soon enough. Looks like Trey gave her boomerang to Stonebone. Anything else, Stonebone?
Oh yeah, and see Leo about to steal. Look, Leo already beat Abner in the ring. Now he about to steal his big fight from him with Tank. That was supposed to be Abner versus Tank. Is his eye healed up now? I know he had like a detached retina or something like that. So is he even cleared to fight? I know they were saying it was real serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Last time we had him on, he said he was good and he was back training.
Yeah, he definitely said he was good to go.
I like Abner because he a throwback fighter to me. He remind me of the guys who had some tough circumstances, and he fought just as hard in the ring as he did in life. So it benefited him greatly. That's why he landed on the show. He well spoken. If you knew his back, most people think how nice he is on that show, that he come from some square, like background. And if you look up his background and his brother's background, dudes is real dudes, man. That's why I appreciate him being able to play both sides of this field. And right now, I ain't never seen nobody in there with Ryan Garcia with that much experience as an Abner Mares, twice with Leo, and all the things he done accomplished in his career. Ryan, to me, would be the underdog. His youth and his promise, I would say, or his potential would be the reason people would pick him. But just going in there in a straight dog fight, throwing 80, 90 punches, that's Abner Mares. And can Ryan...
I don't know that they make Abner the favorite in the fight with Ryan moving up 2 divisions. But, man, we gave Abner hella time. Looks like his peoples couldn't get him out of that gym in time. We're going to go ahead and cut out. But I see Majid there in Orlando. What's going on, champ?
Hey, what up, man? Everybody need to like the video. I would be for that fight if Abner and them went at it, because I feel like Abner got a good crowd behind him on the West Coast, and then Ryan Garcia, of course, he got his. If they was to fight, I would go for Ryan Garcia. I feel like that left hook might be something special. Reminded me of that Donaire. But yeah, if he was to fight him or Cejudo, I'm supporting both of it, but I think he knocked those short people out. But yeah, Mario, man, you need to stop with your crap, but that's all I got, man.
All right. Well, Majid, man, thank you for calling in. 7 o'clock, we're back on Patreon. We got a film study to do. We're going to be reviewing my fight. It's not my choice. Patreons wanted to watch it. So don't think I'm conceited. Catch us on Patreon, 7 p.m. Eastern. Peace.